Well, hi everybody, this is Dale Mama Sala, and I'm between two broadcasts. I've just come off one and I'm jumped in the car and I am off to go to my car repair place because a hose suddenly started showing up at the bottom of my car. Not quite sure what the hose is for, but I'm pretty sure it's not anything too important because my car is still running, which is a good thing. Okay, so I wanted to take the time to just tell you a great story. I love it when viewers write to me because I know it takes great courage to do that, and also I know that you've probably got to be in quite a lot of emotional pain to need to do that. But I had this great email this morning from Marie. And what makes the story even better is that she actually joined us on the broadcast today, and she is a happier person than she was when she wrote to me this morning. And that is what I love about doing Dear Mama Sal, is that we get to help people. So anyway, let me start at the beginning because it is a great story, and I'm certain that a lot of you will relate to it. Marie wrote to me and started off by telling me all the things that were going right in her life, and quite honestly I was quite impressed, enough that I'm going, if all this is going right, why is she writing to me? Anyway, so she was going, you know, this is my name and I'm happily married to a very supportive and loving husband, and you're going, that's nice, and I have a beautiful daughter, that's nice, and we have a beautiful home, that's nice, you know. It went on, and I kept doing these check marks and I was a bit confused, and then she got to the stuff. Well, you knew there had to be stuff because she was writing to me, and bless her heart, the stuff was about family, and I so related to it, and I'm sure a lot of my viewers will relate to it as well. And she was saying that everything was fine, you know, the two families got on really well for the longest time, and sometime around the time that the beautiful daughter was born, something went wrong. And I don't think she even told me, and I don't need to know, but you know, you all know that feeling where suddenly when the two families got together, they weren't quite as friendly as they used to be. And in fact, it started to really affect Marie, and she was busy saying that, you know, to watch the sour faces really had an impact on her, and so much so that she got quite depressed about it all. And what I liked about Marie was she was smart enough, and she and her husband, to talk it through and decide, okay, what did they need to do about this? And what they decided to do was an interesting and very proactive thing, I thought. And that was that they decided to not have the two families come together to any celebration. And although it was more inconvenient, they decided to have two separate celebrations for a birthday or religious get-togethers or whatever it was that they had. So they wouldn't hold one, they would hold two, so that each family was with their own side and they got to enjoy their own people, and they stopped even trying to blend them. Now that takes a lot of courage to do that, and it also takes a lot of time and a lot of money, quite honestly, because you're doing twice as much of everything. But it worked, and it made them happy, them being the families. But what Marie said was she continued to pay the price. She continued to be quite depressed about it all. And as you've heard me say many times before, it is my belief that depression is when we've got something that makes us angry and we're not dealing with it. It's anger turned inwards. So the anger that we feel towards somebody else, we're actually turning it into ourselves, and that's what depression is. Or it was, I can see where it was for many of the times that I was depressed in my life, before I learned to sort of process a bit better. So I wrote back to Marie and said, okay, you came up with one really good solution, and the other one, of course, is to put them all back together again and let them sort it out, or not. And I said, there are plenty of family gatherings where the two families never get on, in a lifetime, and people just manage to do the best they can. And the trick is not to buy into the grouchy people, right? It's the grouchy people that end up controlling these situations. And I always believe that they get far more airtime, if you like, than anybody else. And I always remember a book called The Celestine Prophecy, and one of the parables told in that, and it was a book sort of written of stories that described interesting things that happened to us. And one of those stories, and hence the reason I call it a parable, one of those stories was about the people that you get near and they suck the life out of you. And, these are normally unhappy people. And if we spend our life trying to make unhappy people happy, then it's not going to work, for one. And it's their stuff, they're the ones that need to do the work. And if they want to do the work, they will do so. So what I said to her, your other option is just to realize that your depression is because you've allowed these people, whoever they are, within the family, and whether it's one side or both, doesn't matter, but you've allowed these people to take away your happiness. Instead of holding the functions and just letting them do their thing and know that it's not your problem, it's theirs. It's not your job to make them happy. It's their job. And if you can do that, then you will end up with a much happier life. And luckily, we don't have to get the families together very often, right? There are probably certain high days and holidays when you do that, but you don't have to do it a whole lot. So it's just like, it may not be altogether 100% pleasant. It won't be perfection. Or, as I told Marie, it's not Disneyland. They're not all going to live happily ever after. Believe me, I know. So the point that I wanted to make to Marie was, but does she wake up every morning grateful for all the things that go so well in her life? Because so many people have so much else going on other than the fact the families don't get on. And if she can concentrate more on that side of her life, she's not going to spend her life in depression. And I really did recommend that she, when she was on the broadcast, that she start a gratitude diary and start writing down all the things she was grateful for. And also every morning be grateful for the fact that she woke up, and small things like that, hello, my eyes still work, or my legs work. Because so many people don't have that every day and still manage to be happy. Why? Because they don't let what is not good in their lives rule their happiness. So I did ask Marie whether I could tell her story, because I was pretty sure that it would make sense to a lot of people. And by the way, if this resonated with you at any level, then please do leave a comment so Marie knows that it was worth not only her time to help herself, but maybe that other people understand her position and relate to it and can support her. Because that's what we all need, is somebody who understands what's going on. And also somebody who will be there when we're not feeling quite as happy as we'd like to. And I personally just wanted to say a really big thank you, Marie, because to not only write to me, but also to come in and discuss it in front of other people on the broadcast, that tells me you really want to grow. You don't want to sit and complain about what's going on. You want to actually grow and have a happier life. And you do realize that, it starts and ends with the way you are processing stuff. And we all do it. I'd lift both hands if I weren't driving a car. I do it. I was saying that some days I get up and I can perfectly control what's going on, and I can see things like this whole business with my car, right? I could have gone insane going, oh, what's that hose? Why is there a hose dangling? And how come I spent so much money at the shop and they managed to screw that up? And I could be really angry. And I'm not. I'm really grateful for the fact that whatever that hose is, it can't be very important because my car is still running. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And is it inconvenient that I've got to take time out of my day to go and have them find out what it is? Yeah. But hey, way less inconvenient than having to have my car blow up or catch on fire or do any of the things that could have happened. So I'm really grateful that I'm taking this time between two broadcasts to do this. Make sense? So much of our life is determined by our happiness, and our happiness is determined by how we process things. The older I get, the more I realize that. And boy, as I've said, I am not perfect. And neither is anybody else that is part of Dear Mama Sal. But what we all try and do is to grow and get better at understanding these things and get better about being accountable for our side of it. And to realize that we're not going to change other people. The grouchy people are going to carry on being grouchy. And as I said in the previous video, you know, the oxen are still going to be oxen and all that they bring with them. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And I'm so grateful to have you guys out there supporting me in the work that I choose to do. I'm very grateful for that. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, look after one another. But most of all, remember, turn the camera and see how this relates to you. Because I want to tell you, when I had finished listening to Marie's story, that's what I did. I just turned the mirror around and I looked at myself in my mind and went, okay, Sal, why do you need this reminder today? And I started to process on some things and I went, oh, it's all related. The reason I got upset and needed to hear the story about the oxen, and the reason that I got upset, and, you know, and I start looking at it and I'm going, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's all there. The life brings you the lessons time and time again until you sort of get it. And if you sort of get it, you still get the lesson back again, but it doesn't come as regularly. And if you still keep processing it and going, oh yeah, that's that one again, you know, eventually you get fed up. And eventually you decide, no, I'm not going to let these people rule my life and my happiness. I'm just going to do life my way. And as we were quoting on the broadcast, you know, Terry Cole Whitaker said, you know, just remember that what you think of me is none of my business. And what other people think of you is really none of your business. It's their stuff. So if the family doesn't like the way you run parties, or the family doesn't like the way you chose a husband or whatever, you know, whatever it is that other people judge you for, that's their stuff. Are you happy? So few people are. Be happy. The best thing I know is that feeling. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, may not be Disneyland, but it's pretty good. Bye bye for now.